Nah, I love giving my husband's money to Jews. Anyway, let's see. What is the John Doyle video? Let's see. Why conservatives can't make culture. Let's see. Well, because
At the end of 2023,
where's your radish farm, man? Is that an American Eagle shirt? Feels like I'm at the mall with my friends, my try-hard friends, going into Aeropostale. How many videos does he make per year? 1 hour ago, 4,000 views. John Doyle, man of culture. That's true. How we got some men buying babies together. Ooh, he's going hard in the paint. Bro.
the scoreboard was basically that the left took Donald Trump off the ballot in Colorado, and we took
Okay, Aeropostale. Norwood check. Yeah, his Norwood's messed up. My Norwood's is messed up too, but I do it with swag.
Dylan Mulvaney off a beer can. Now, obviously, the ballot thing being permanent was a long shot, but it does illustrate what each side likes to direct their efforts towards, what they consider to be a victory, something worth celebrating. And I've heard a lot of sentiment in the last couple of years. It's like we need to stop focusing on political battles. The culture is what's important. We must fight the culture war. All focus now has to be on the culture. And it's like, okay, well, what does that even mean? What does the culture mean to you? And as we find out from listening to these people and seeing what they believe culture is, the right has no idea what culture is, let alone how to make it for themselves.
I love a man who looks like a peasant from like Eastern Europe. A man who's like tilling the field. Somehow when he's clean, he looks dirty. Tell me about culture. So, dude, sorry, your face doesn't allow you to make culture or talk about culture. And that's okay to be a peasant. But you really should be dirty and like toiling in a field all day, dude. It's like you should be like some Eastern European peasant. It's like dirty hands, cold, mud on your face, tears in your clothes. You don't know anything about culture. You never will, bro. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You're not going to ever have any visions or what like taste or culture. You don't know what it is. You're a peasant. True. True. No drip. Pure peasantry. Sorry. Sorry, as evidenced by everything about him. Pioneer. Jesus Christ. Heck off, commie. Just completely tasteless. Doyle is fake Irish. He's a Jew. The hair is definitely not Irish hair. That's not real Irish hair right there. Thoughts on American Eagle? Feels like a coat brand for niggas. Dude, all these brands are retarded. Anybody who wears brands is like not a Schwartz, I think they call them.
And much less how to actually take the culture back from the left. It's one of those things where I don't even know what these people mean when they are saying these words to me, but culture is not just something that you can force or commission. That's why when the right says, well, the right needs to be making culture. Okay, yeah, go on. Go make some culture. I dare you. Go off, make culture. It's not that simple. And the reason it's not that simple is because culture is simply what people do naturally. And that's why the culture war actually is so important ultimately, is because it's a war for the soul of the nation, because culture is downstream from the soul of the people making it. It's a reflection of their spirit. It's defined and demonstrated by what people do. And conservatives don't do anything.
Irish knock off Jews. No, Irish are better than Jews, bro. Jews want to be Irish so bad.
So I have no understanding of what it means to be right-wing, which is why our attempts to make right-wing culture tend to fall flat. It's because our lack of knowledge of ourselves and our world and our connection to our world leads us to sort of caricaturize ourselves and pretend.
Read Plato and relax. It's not, you're not gonna cover any ground Plato didn't cover, bro. Read all of Plato. Get back to me in 5 years after you read 1,000 pages, and you're gonna have a lot better understanding than what you're struggling through right now.
And if we just do something over the top to own the libs, we're triggering the libs. This is somehow culture. You know, I've often said that if we put up a mural of a mother cradling a child, that would be more right-wing than putting a mural of like Ronald.
That is not. It's so disgusting. That's not even...
At the end of 2023, so I've no understanding leads to paint a mural on the side of a building in Portland, Oregon, and they painted something like that, or George Washington flexing his biceps on a pile of dead British soldiers, something like that. It would take far longer.
That's so classless and disgusting. You're not. That's like you went to New York City once and you said this black person.
Somehow culture, you know. I've often said that if we put up a mural of a mother cradling a child,
it's like I saw a black person selling me a painting. Wow, he should be an artist. How is this an example you're using? How is this? Dude, this is like a black person scam painting. What are you talking about?
would be more right-wing than putting a mural of like Ronald Reagan riding a Velociraptor shooting an Uzi. Like if you hired a right-wing artist to paint a mural on the side of a building in Portland, Oregon, and they painted something like that, or George Washington flexing his biceps on a pile of dead British soldiers, something like that, it would take far longer for that mural to be defaced than it would if the mural were just a mother cradling her child. And we might be confused about that, but the left certainly is not. And it's because they actually have a better understanding of what it means to be right-wing than we do. Like they might hate it, they might hate things that are good and natural and true, but they understand that they're right-wing. Whereas we think being right-wing is just like owning the libs, being smug. That's why the culture that we make is just the left, but based. It's like we don't know ourselves, we don't know what our culture is, what we are. So because of that, we can only respond to the left. It's not a real right-wing. It's simply this like counter-leftism, which is why all of our culture is things like beer, but based, coffee, but veteran-owned and based, and made by not a bisexual Antifa member. And it's like, well, maybe I like that. Maybe that's why I paid the $7. Whatever. So to actually win, to actually take the culture back, we're going to need to do a lot more than what we have been doing. We're going to have to be serious about it. We're going to have to develop a proper relationship with the ideas that have been fetishized throughout our culture by the modern world. Revolution, democracy, equality, scientism, these are not our friends. These are not our ideas. We need to rediscover and cultivate a proper relationship with natural law, hierarchy, spirituality, liberty. All of these things properly understood would do far more to advance our culture and our cause than whatever else we're talking about right now. And honestly, if it weren't for the woke stuff, I wouldn't actually know how to define or explain what we're doing. If I were just a normal person and it weren't for the Dylan Mulvaney stuff, like, I wouldn't even understand what the right is claiming to be about, what it's supposed to look like for the right to declare victory.
You don't understand anything. You're a retard. Sorry.
Or even just a victory. Is it all just a grift? What do we actually want our culture to look like? How do we actually get there? I'm so glad that you asked, because funny enough, we're actually going to go over what culture actually is, why it's so important, why conservatives can't seem to make it, some problems with the idea of making our own culture, some truths about why our culture has become the way that it is, how we can actually start to take it back, why most of our perceived victories in doing so, particularly with boycotting, things like that.
You don't care about the culture. Culture doesn't matter. It's for retards. How can I expect you to be superior if you're obsessed with things inferior? They don't understand. These people don't understand too. Is the way to influence people is to make people think that you think you're better than them, and not interacting with them. And then they'll naturally be like, "Well, he has something he doesn't. I don't understand what he has. He has something about him." And then they'll pay attention.
They're exaggerated. They're not really victories. Typically, they're just trying to fleece money from you. And how these things affected what we saw in 2023 and what that all means going forward. Do stay tuned. John Doyle, back off, coming. Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome.
Those are Jewish teeth too, honestly.
John Doyle, back off, coming.
Jewish teeth. Jewish peasant teeth. Those aren't Irish teeth. Irish teeth are nasty, but they're not that.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Heck Off Tommy. Here we go.
Those are Jewish teeth. Sorry. Those aren't Irish teeth. Irish teeth are freaky, but they're not like that. There's very specific Jewish teeth. But wait a second.
Just like I said, back.
Yeah, his ears are below his eyes. He might actually be Jewish. He's actually Jewish. I'm not kidding. Because the ear under the eyes thing, that's a big Jewish thing. Those are actually eyes. Those are actually... Number one, that's so fucked up. But number two, this is a Jewish person. He's Jewish. Brown eyes. Every Irish person has green eyes. Hooked nose. He's actually Jewish. Yep. And then that, my friends, is how you figure it out. Rat teeth, yeah.
Precisely when I intended to be. I hope you all had a wonderful Christmas and a wonderful New Year celebration. So we're going to go through the big culture war victories from last year in just a second. But I want to get this out of the way.
His hair is curly too, which is Jewish.
First, don't get your heart broken. Don't put too much faith in your generals. They have no idea what they're doing in almost all cases. And for the most part, I'm not going to be sniping at anyone in particular. I'm not trying to throw shade. Sometimes there are specific instances, but a lot of it is just a general trend. But I just have to let you know that ahead of time because people get so excited and so caught up in the hype of all these things that they will be personally offended if you poke holes in it because...
It's crazy you look at me versus him. It's like, dude, white race is superior.
They've allowed themselves to become so emotionally invested into these things and they need them to be real. They need them to be successful.
Yep. The Jewish are God's chosen.
Feel perhaps less anxious about the state of the world and their country and their culture. So I'll just point this out quickly. If conservatives actually understood what culture is, which is probably a prerequisite to being able to take a culture back and produce it effectively, right? If they actually understood it, then they would have far different understandings of what it means to be an American, what our immigration policy should be, etc. Because right now, conservatives seem to basically think that everything will be okay, that you can sustain a nation based on people having correct opinion on a calendar, on a syrup bottle, on Mr. Potato Head, a sports team, etc. And a lot of people think that we shouldn't even address these things at all. They're just trivialities. But I disagree. I think they are actually important. The problem is that the discussion around them doesn't seem to understand what the problem is.
None of this stuff matters. Cope. Genetics always win. Nothing matters. Blood always tells. John Doyle. John Doyle Steen. Doesn't matter. None of this matters. Blood always tells.
Actually is, which is American culture.
Bet
American
it works for you,
all of this has
Langley.
been completely deconstructed and it's just up for grabs right now. Like if this weren't the case, I can pretty much guarantee that our culture would look much more like something approximating a right-wing Christian conservative culture than it does now. So I just have to start off by pointing that out because it comes as no surprise to me that the same class of people who thinks that anybody can be an American so long as they do so legally and write down that they want to work hard on a piece of paper, that's also the class of people that says that culture is something that can just be commissioned. We can just take the culture back by making better culture. But as we'll discuss, our culture is sick because our people are sick. Okay, what's the problem? When we say we've lost, we're losing the culture. What does that mean? Our problem is that our culture is backwards and masochistic. It hates itself to the extent that it even exists beyond being an anti-culture, where our culture is that we have no culture. It wants to be humiliated and embarrassed and stupid. It's like we said years ago, American cultural exports are essentially gluttony, feminism, and butt stuff. Like that's what we shove into the faces of the rest of the world and say, look at what we do. Like this is what is conveyed by the flag of our empire. And these are the more extreme examples. These are the things that really wake people up to how badly we've lost.
Yeah, this is the same guy who crawled out of the sewer talking to me about culture.
Subtle aspects of this stuff in a minute, but all the really degenerate content, the problem is it's tough to compete with that, which doesn't mean that it's good, just that man's nature is not good. So if your strategy is just to make better content that's more attractive to people that are going to prefer, how are you going to do that? If this person is making music that makes people feel powerful because it's talking about violence and sex, and there's a million of them just like that, the instrumentation itself has been produced by a computer that has it down literally to a science to entrance people, to hypnotize them, and you make one song about wasting tax dollars. You understand there's sort of an imbalance there. And two, with a lot of what has become our culture, we're at a point now where the attitudes of the consumer are too rotten to be rehabilitated organically. Like they will no longer respond to that treatment because when people are offering perversion and evil, that's the forbidden fruit. That's always going to be eye-catching. It's always going to be enticing to people, and you can't actually expect people to reasonably refuse that consumption and indulgence, especially
forbidden fruit is denying that, making fun of the Holocaust. That's really the only forbidden fruit left. There's nothing forbidden about gay sex or drugs or abortion or being trashy. There's nothing forbidden about any of that now. The only thing forbidden is denying the Holocaust.
Scale. Like some people might refuse it, good for them, but most people will not do that because our nature is imperfect and it's flawed. So the way that our system is now, it's very easy to profit off selling and promoting vice, degeneracy, hedonism, everything like that. And even ignoring all the other factors which do play into this, I'm not optimistic about outcompeting that kind of content to prevent society from killing itself. This kind of degeneracy has been going on at varying scales and to varying extents for thousands of years. And the only thing that actually works in shutting it down, this kind of content, is like literally shutting it down. I mean, this has been done before. We can do it perfectly well here. There's no constitutional, legal, moral, nor historical case for people being able to profit off the moral degradation of Americans. And this has to be the path forward, by the way, with the particularly rotten and wicked stuff, because the effort to just make better culture puts too much faith into one, the ability of people to be rational consumers at a large scale, and two, and perhaps more importantly, our ability to even understand what better culture is, let alone to produce it at a scale which could actually compete for the majority. And also, it assumes that any real threat to the economic and cultural hegemony of the regime would not just be crushed instantly, which it would be. They don't really care if you want to fleece money from conservatives by selling them like a based beer or something like that, but anything that's actually serious, yeah, they would crack down on that swiftly and harshly. It would disappear overnight. And we've been saying this for years, which is that we have to cut off the ability of evil to influence people from the top down. If it occurs to people at their own volition, I think I want to go organically pursue vice, there's only so much you can do for them, pray for them. But the way that our culture is now, it is filled with incessant distractions and temptations where even people who really put serious effort in to avoid stumbling, even they're compelled to indulge in this type of material and self-loathing and masochism. And that's a violation of their sovereignty. Actually, being assaulted by this constant, unrelenting promotion of vice and smut and degeneracy, that is a violation of individual autonomy, and that can't be tolerated. And I have a lot of respect for artists and storytellers. I'm not one of these people who thinks that anybody can do anything that they put their mind to. I do believe in talent and innate ability, but I also believe in the government protecting its people from being harmed, especially for profit and at a mass scale. And our problem gets dressed up in a million different ways to take our attention and our dollars in a million different directions, but it's ultimately the same thing that it's been for decades. We do not have legitimate representation. We do not have legitimate political power, which is to say that our power, our ability to make the world closer to how we would like it to be, to how it was for our parents and for our grandparents, that does not exist in a legitimate capacity. That's a serious conversation. That requires a lot of brain power and discipline and coordination to solve.
I don't got no brain power, dude.
To circumvent that discussion into silly things that get a lot of attention on social media. And if we had that power, that doesn't just mean that all of a sudden everyone who's making culture are just going to be our guys. The people who are good at telling stories would continue to be good at telling stories without them having to be ornamented by woke stuff, perhaps having them be subversive by nature. The same goes for all culture, which is to say that the same way that now there are people who are right-wing, who make great, successful movies, their path of least resistance in becoming successful in entertainment or whatever, how they pass the loyalty tests for admission is by keeping that to themselves, not setting off any alarms and transgressing against the religious beliefs of the regime. Same goes when we take the culture back. What that looks like is the same, except now in order to achieve success, you can't be caught dead expressing sentiments or having sympathies to anything that goes against what we want our culture to look like. Doesn't mean that all of a sudden our guys are in charge of making all the culture, but it does mean that we have enough power to direct what that will look like and to a certain extent who those people will be. But again, the guys who we have who are closest to the levers of power are completely incompetent, so we can't.
Why would I do that?
Can't really soon expect anything to change under these circumstances. I remember doing some event last fall. Go back to my hotel room, hanging up the suit. I throw on Fox News in the background. Ted Cruz is on there, promoting his book about how to beat these people and take the culture back. And he was complaining that the woke Marxists were colluding with the Chinese Communist Party by editing out a Taiwanese flag in their version of Top Gun, but also that the Chinese version of Bohemian Rhapsody omitted the fact that Freddie Mercury was gay. And he said, we have to fight this. Dude, what are you talking about? Who's this for? We have to fight China because they deny the existence of a country which no American can find on a map and because they refuse to, validate Freddie Mercury as a queer icon. This is your far-right, conservative, pro-American senator from Texas. God help us. The point being, we can discuss the logistics of this at a later time, what it would look like. But until this thinking shifts from where it is now into something with more teeth, don't expect anything to change. And yeah, if you want to get into more detail with that at a later time, let me know. We can do.
Culture is fine. Culture is cozy. Culture is me. Culture is what I do with myself when I'm playing a video game, relaxing, enjoying myself, in my zone, hydrated. Culture is totally fine. You're talking about the Zog slop. Culture is good. Culture is me. Culture is Nick. Culture is Jay-Z. Culture is good, dude. You're just not in it because you're pro.
Do a whole discussion on what that would look like as a matter of policy, personnel, etc. Also, why do you take so much time to do those news hits, to sell those books? Like, do you have that time? Everything else is under control. We can throw it on.
Yo, Johnny Cell Phone.
Let's talk about.
Thank you very much, dude. I appreciate it.
The culture. Because the right has no real cultural presence, as it has no real political presence, because we have no political figures. I mean, guys that are actually big players, guys that represent us, at least until next year. We also have no real cultural figures. So instead, we have this weird hybrid where our
We do have culture figures. Me, Hitler. Nick Fuentes. Yay. Myself, Hitler. Who else?
Joe
Everybody else.
Fatherlall sent $5. This rapper is a gay queer, but this song hits. Thoughts?
You're all right. That guy does have AIDS. Thoughts? Thoughts? That guy has AIDS. Sorry, that guy's faggy and he has AIDS. The only homosexual I like that's public is Tim Dillon. All right. Besides that, every homosexual should go away.
Leaders make themselves into these quasi-celebrities who create grand spectacles for themselves to denigrate things like the Barbie movie or whatever is the outrage of the day, but simultaneously to police the speech and behavior of anybody who wants to do anything real. So we've got this weird hybrid of a political, cultural class, which really retains the benefits of neither of those things. So they're not powerful enough to really achieve things for us politically, but they're also not really powerful enough for us culturally to get any wins there either. So it's like, who's this really for? You know, it's trying too hard. It's like we've been saying, culture isn't something that you can just force or commission. Culture is something that people do. It's defined by what people do, and conservatives don't do anything. We have no self-understanding, no regard for an intellectual tradition. And so when we try to make something that is an example of right-wing arts or right-wing culture, typically it does not go so well for us. But when the left tries to make something right-wing to mock it, it always ends up as everybody's favorite thing. Look at Rorschach. Look at Far Cry 5. Keep your rifle by your side. So we
Yeah. Oh, Far Cry 5 or Rorschach. And just I made a joke about some Redditor who thinks he's Rorschach. Who was it? It was some fat guy video we were watching, and I was like, you know, this guy likes Rorschach.
first need to understand what it means to even be right-wing, to be conservative, because without that, you're never going to make culture that reflects those things.
Thank you for the feedback. I'll never listen to him again. Yeah, he seems like a homosexual. And he has AIDS, so I wouldn't get AIDS, dude.
Resonates with your people because it has no mold to be cast from. You should also know what it means to even be a person or to be alive. You know, one thing I found in
How are you going to be a thug and take it up the butt? Publicly. Like, you can do it secretly, and you're like a LARPer, and you trick some people. And I get it. You're pretending to be something you're not, but you're trying to, like, come off as that. But how can you take stuff up the butt and say, yeah, I'm a thug? It's like, dude, you take stuff up the butt. You're like, what's wrong with you? You're mentally ill.
Is that while the left may hate nature and seek to pervert it and corrupt it, the right is afraid of nature. They have a very naive view of it in a lot of cases, and a lot of that is almost like an overcorrection for what they correctly reject from what the left is promoting. We're going to discuss this at length very soon. We're going to do a video about why social conservatives consistently fail despite being like pretty much always correct in their conclusions. But vitality is an important component of this that is largely ignored. But okay, culture, it's what people do, it's what they create.
Black people are really gay, though? Yeah, I agree. I agree, Yam. Aren't you supposed to be watching Jaden, Yam? Aren't you watching Jaden? Aren't you the Jaden dude? Didn't you make fun of me about Jaden when I was like, Jaden's gay? Aren't you the Jaden team? Anyway, I don't care. But yeah, most black people are gay. It's true.
The problem is conservatives don't do anything. They don't create anything. You know, they don't even.
If I can take a dick, I can take anything, nigga. That's funny, dude. There's pillow biters in these special forces. Yeah, I know. Culture can't be forced. No, that wasn't me. Okay, I guess it's a different pedophile into K-pop. Culture can't be forced. So everyone just became anti-racist and gay with no influence at all. More so than you think. The reason that people become degenerate, it's more of a function of excess than a function of, like, the more leeway you have on stuff, whether it's driving, the more, driving or living or making a living, is the more lazy you're going to tend to be on average. So the more you can be immoral and not get the consequences of it, the more you're going to be immoral generally. It's like premarital sex. Premarital sex increased a ton with the advent of birth control, because you could all of a sudden get away with having sex without having to deal with motherhood or fatherhood. All of a sudden, premarital sex increased. It wasn't like people's morals got worse at the beginning, but it was more like people's behavior got worse because their morals were already kind of just situational. Most people are situational. Don't really have honor. That's why honor is very important. Honor is very, very valuable. Not morality, because morality is very situational, and it's like, if I was running things, I'd be perfect. And then the only reason you're able to have these morals is because you're not running things. Now, there are some people who have honor, and once they get a sort of platform or influence, they'll retain that honor, but that's very rare. Generally speaking, people are only as good as they can't be bad, if that makes sense. The more bad people can be, the worse they usually are. Because think about how evil and mean people are to telemarketers. Think about your parents. Think about anybody. Think about older people. Older people are generally extremely nasty to telemarketers because those are the only people they can actually like beat down on. All of a sudden, they're polite to like their boss. They're polite to people. They can fire them. But the people who have no power, they're horrible to, because they're slaves. And it's generally speaking, people who want to be put in charge are people who are going to be really, really bad when they're put in charge. There are exceptions, But generally speaking, that's a very, very good rule.
They don't understand what is happening around them. They have no idea what they would even want the future to look like. They can only say, well, not.
I don't know, but it seems like half of blacks are either overtly gay or on the DL. Some telemarketer guy called me an accident to thank me for my contributions to a Christian charity. And we got to talking. He said his own son was basically bullied for being straight and Christian in the military. That sounds like you're being scammed. It sounds like you're being scammed. But I would say, of the people I didn't know in real life who went to the military, I know one person on the internet who went to the military, and he's a homosexual and he's black. So that's kind of funny. Actually, I think he went to the Marines. Yeah, he went to the Marines, and he's gay and black, which is very funny. So that's my online people I know who went to the military. A gay black guy.
Not this. They can only
Great guy though, very nice guy.
Themselves by their opposition to the left. They can't stand for something. They can only express themselves and their desires in opposition to the left. They are chained to the framework of their enemy. They have no vision. They have no creativity. They have no will.
I hope you
power,
didn't.
no
I hope you didn't get that telemarketer. Give that telemarketer any information about yourself, or buy anything from him, because that sounds like a big scam, honestly.
To wokeism, except to just like cry about hypocrisy and continue fleecing money from their helpless but well-meaning base while they are being crushed by the consequences of the
Rob
incumbent
Smith?
order.
No, I don't know Rob Smith. It is funny that gay people, you can just tell their faces do change. It's like people with toxoplasmosis, their faces get more symmetrical generally. That's actually true. People with toxoplasmosis over time are more attractive from toxoplasmosis. It changes the face development actually. But the same thing with gay people, because they have bugs in their butt that make them want to have anal sex, and it makes their face, and it changes their hormones in some way, which makes them like obviously gay, which is hilarious.
Hey, don't worry, things are fine. Just keep giving us money. Look at what we're doing. The left does something. Boom, look, South Park just own the left. The pendulum shifts. People have had enough. Woke is dead, etc. Instead of like actually making something, making its own culture, making something real. Because to make a real counterculture, which is transgressive to the predominant one, it's pretty tough. That requires being called a lot of names, losing a lot of status that I don't think the incumbent hybrid class is really willing to sacrifice for the most part. And of course, I like to interpret pieces of existing media.
So crazy you can just say like gay people, when it really boils down to it, are just like people with bugs in their butt. But you're not special, and you're not like, you don't deserve special treatment other than like dewormer. The only thing you deserve, the only special treatment you deserve, is being forced to take ivermectin.
Through a political lens, but I do that to normalize our ideas to hundreds of thousands of people in a way that is familiar to them, including the Giga Chad himself. Not because I'm trying to, convince people that we're making inroads in the culture. And so we try to co-opt things that happen and just claim them as ours. Like, Nicki Minaj against the vaccines, based. Ricky Gervais made fun of snowflakes.
Yeah, Nicki Minaj threatening reporters. That was based. Okay, I'm sorry. Nicki Minaj threatening to kill a reporter during the COVID thing, threatening to like have black people kill a reporter is hilarious.
W's at the award show ceremony? I think we're back. And so as it stands, the things that we try to co-opt are being perceived as victories simply by their virtue of not being woke. And that would be fine if it were because the right is understanding that at this point simply being normal is actually transgressive to the dysgenic, disgusting freaks that we're up against. But instead, it seems that people are just trying to sell false hope to their audiences. So right now, even the culture that's being made by us that's not explicitly right-wing or transgressive, that is a statement insofar as it's not woke. And if we had more institutional power, we could actually make things that are transgressive, which deconstruct and mock the gods of the regime, things that we mentioned earlier being equality, science.
You don't have to have money to say the Holocaust didn't happen. See, you don't need to mock the regime. I like to say the Holocaust didn't happen, and it's funny. And then just like watch everybody freak out. That's all. You don't need a crazy production to mock the people who run the society and are running, or the dysgenic freaks like you talk about. You can say, oh, the Holocaust didn't happen. Wow, I just did a huge production to make fun of the regime. The Holocaust didn't happen, and it's funny, and I really don't care, and it's hilarious.
You do need that institutional backing, because otherwise nobody's going to see it, which maybe is not important to you as an
artist.
The
Irish have Jew froze too? I don't think so. I could be totally wrong. If you think of me, you think about Keith Woods. I can't think of any. The locks of the Irish. I guess so. I don't know. I can't think of it. Maybe there's different types of. Maybe those are Irish teeth right there. I feel like I should know this, but I don't. I guess they do. Yeah, they definitely do have a curly hair. I just hate John Doyle so much I'm ready to like change my memory. They have curls, yeah. That's true. Yeah, they definitely do. I bet doctors have been gatekeeping the fact that you can tell the difference between a gay person and a straight person by looking at the brain scan. Is that true? All right, so the difference in it. Okay, that makes sense. But they're saying it's linked at birth, but I wouldn't say it's at birth. I would say it's from The same way if you get toxoplasmosis, it actually changes your face structure. It's probably the same thing if you get bugs in your butt. It changes your brain structure. Faggot brain. It's in a phenomenon known as faggot brain. Scientists have revealed that you can tell the difference between a normal person and a faggot by looking at a brain scan. Okay. Dude, there is. Oh, here we go. Yeah, homosexuals are the only ones who use 100% of their brain instead of 10%. Composite photographs of 18 toxoplasma as a free. Toxoplasma is a free, and 18 toxoplasma infected students. Yeah, see. Higher perceived dominance in toxoplasmosis infected men. A new evidence for a role of increased level of testosterone and toxoplasmosis associated changes in human behavior. Yep. 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 That's what I was saying. All right, let's get back to the freak.
To having cultural influence. And again, I have a lot of respect for artists, for storytellers. I'm not one of these people who thinks anyone can do whatever if they just put their mind to it, read enough books, work hard enough, study enough, whatever. I really do believe in talent. I believe in innate ability. And another big problem that we have is that people who tend to be conservative usually just invest their efforts in the business industry, keeping the trains running on time. Like, these are not people who seek revolution by nature. And so they don't tend to seek positions of power like this naturally. They think, wow, this is a pretty great system. I better get up and make some money. Whereas the left, they tend to be bitter and resentful by nature. And they seethe because they cannot compete. And
Struggle is real. I like that. That's a good shirt. I need to get that shirt. The struggle is real. And I need the headband. When people ask me about they say, take your hat off. Let me see that Norwood. I take my hat off and I reveal the bandana that says fuck off on it.
people who are like that, but who are more maybe aware of the situation politically, who are cognizant of what's going on, they usually end up getting involved in politics in some capacity, throwing their hat in the ring because they want to fight for a system and for a country that they love so much. And so that's why we have to understand the difference between the conservative artist and the artist who is conservative. You know, we don't want to put the cart before the horse here. We want excellence, we want art, and the problem is that by the nature of our current power structure, artists are going to have to play
PO box. I don't have a PO box. I don't. Don't send me stuff. Don't ever interact with me in real life.
These people in order to gain recognition, wealth, whatever it may be. And that's really the problem that needs solving. Like, we have to change those lines. We have to take control of them. We have to be the ones saying, you can't get canceled for making right-wing art, but you won't be able to make a living as a left-wing artist. We'll make you radioactive. No one will touch you. No one will want to work with you. And until that changes, any attempt for us to really compete with this is just going to be us telling normal stories, but we're paying more for them. Because at least we know that
No, here's the deal. And I'm gonna reveal the game a little bit, and I'm gonna blow your mind a little bit, and maybe ruin something for you, but also make it a little more interesting too. We're not in competition for the presidency. We're not in competition for mass culture. We're not in competition for Congress, for the Senate. Everybody, even if they don't know it, is simply in competition for the internet space. The old world, the real world, the physical world is for retarded people. The new world, that's where the money is. That's where the power is. That's where the community is. All the old world stuff is dead. That's why these people have any shot at it, because anybody who's not retarded is busy doing other stuff. And that's the truth of the matter. Basically, the competition is who can get the most people thinking that they're going to impact the real world. And that's who can build a healthy community. Because you're going to look back, and some of you, I think, already are like this. Like, you see some of the super chats where it's like, I started listening, and now I'm married, I have kids, and I have a wife, and I have a job. Thank you, Nick. And now I go to Catholic Church. That person's waiting for Nick to, change the world. But you think about it, and actually, as a result of the community that thinks it wants to change the world, change America, change whatever, it's actually changing people individually, and they're forming a community. That's the real game. That's actually what's happening, and that's the playing field. Even though the imagined playing field is whatever, Congress or Senate. I would just say hi, Paul Town. That's it. Don't do that, dude. I was born to a Jewish moth and a German Catholic father, and raised secular. My sister just converted her, and I just signed up for RCIA. Good for you, Engine Joe. I don't know how a moth was Jewish, but good for you. Beards and Fangia, Fall 10 Fanbia. Dude, that's horrible. That's like the most cursed ever. How did a moth have sex with a man? That's my question. But good for you, Engine Joe. And yeah, no, that's the real battle. The real battle is It's just selecting for types of people who are funny, types of people who value the truth, types of people who are optimistic and want to win, but also aren't scared of offending people and scared of not being liked by wider society. And those are the people who win in life. That's the personality type that wins, and doesn't matter what context they're in. And they end up changing the world without trying to change the world. Like they end up just by virtue of making money and being successful and being the smartest people and being the most interesting people, having the most influence. And while everyone's looking at the big prize, like the presidency or whatever, or America or whatever, the real thing is the real life. Like you compare Dennis Prager's fan club, and who is it? It's people with kids who are trans. And it's people who are retarded, right? And you look at people like Destiny's fan base, and the people who listen to Destiny over time, they just get more and more retarded. And their life sucks. And they get worse. Whereas people in these circles, a decent portion of them are like, yeah, thanks to you, like, thanks to this community, I spent my entertaining time. My entertainment time was doing politics and being rude and racist. But that was my entertainment time. And in the meantime, I'm getting married, I'm having kids, I'm having fun. I'm starting a business, I'm working hard, and I'm motivated and I have values. And as a result, even, without any real change in terms of politics, in terms of whatever, who's president, that group, that community is way more successful and happy.
Politics of the producers are more or less in alignment with ours, or making a sort of, right-wing self-parody caricature because we don't understand ourselves introspectively. We can only define ourselves by our opposition to the absurdities of the left, whereas we could do that. We could make art that promotes our ideals, promotes what we want to be celebrated and elevated, not equality, but excellence, not scientism, but faith, not democracy, but leadership, not revolution, but civilization, and so on. And a lot of great movies do exactly this, and maybe you wouldn't even think twice about it because it's just normal. And if you start associating your artwork in your culture with things that people have already been conditioned into viewing as low status or whatever,
Anyway, so I'm not going to respond. I'm not going to repeat what I just said, but that's a good point.
you're setting yourself up for failure. It should simply be normal. It is what it is. It's not an anti-something else in branding or in purpose. It stands alone in favor of what it is saying.
Can't believe you guys
it has the confidence to exist for its sake by itself. And I'm not trying to take, the armchair approach of criticizing everyone trying to do something, people trying to do the right thing. I'm just saying, I think if we put as much effort into destroying these people's ability to artificially destroy and poison our culture as we do into making culture, things would just sort of heal themselves and correct naturally to a pretty large extent. And I completely agree. These battles need to be fought. I'm just trying to direct the energy into something that's productive.
For $1,000 a nation, I'll repeat the rant. I'll be back in a second.
Like, preserving classic architecture, like Trump was doing in DC. Even that would be doing more in service of our culture than a lot of things that people are trying to do now. But honestly, even if we did get this down to a T, the truth is that we could spend a year making something really cool and spend a bunch of money on it. But at the end of the day, there were probably 100 other things that were made that were more popular and that had a bigger effect on the culture. You're not going to create a parallel Hollywood. Other countries try to do this, not even with the anti-woke niche, and they don't even come close. They're just trying in general to compete, and it still doesn't even hold a candle. The film industry is globalized, and just as American culture, which it exports and imposes into the rest of the world, is totally woke and reflective of American cultural hegemony, so will Hollywood until something serious changes. Same thing without competing woke capitalism, starting a parallel economy. You're not going to create an anti-woke S&P 100. It's just not happening. You need to control the same forces which have forced these apolitical companies to become that way. And again, we're not being pessimistic, but to people who are overly excited and overly optimistic, a little dose of realism might seem that way. The message is simply that we have to understand the conditions we are working with. We shouldn't overthink what culture is, let alone good culture. So long as it's not deliberately subversive, degenerating, perverted, like it can probably pass the smell test, at least for the time being. But in terms of a long-term solution to these problems, you really need to keep your eye on the prize. We need political power because the separation between the state and the economy, between the state and industry, that's one of the myths of liberalism. That's never really been the case throughout history, let alone with a global empire like ours. They're not separated, they never have been, and they never will be. I mean, that'd be great, that'd be awesome if that were the case. I agree, but this is nonetheless the reality of our situation. And so long as our regime is occupied by this sentiment, our economy and our media, it's going to be as well. The debunking of that myth, that's a separate conversation one I suppose we will have to have at some point. The right will have to have too, if we actually want to be successful. But we are up against very powerful forces. People say that, but they don't really believe it because they act in ways which contradict that reality, which is something that we're also going to discuss pretty soon with some talk about the civil war and the collapse that we've been seeing. But the reality of our situation is that you're never going to independently create a challenge to their power because power by its nature destroys anything that threatens it, that actually poses a threat to the economic and cultural hegemony of the regime. It's going to be outright crushed or subverted, but it won't be allowed. And don't worry, there's going to be a time when that is no longer the case. I mean, these people are not competent enough to sustain their operation. But in the meantime, our efforts would be far better spent trying to accumulate and regain political power rather than just playing hot potato with people's money and telling them that it's doing something productive for them. And insofar as we are having these conversations, which is important, we should be having these conversations, but we need to direct a lot more of that focus to the elephant in the room, to what was written on the wall now almost 10 years ago, which is that Donald Trump's election and the energy surrounding that exists because he started a conversation about identity, about what it means to be an American, who we are. And that was a conversation that Americans didn't even realize that they were starting to have because they just taken it for granted. They didn't know that it was on the menu. The reason that we've lost our culture is because we've lost our identity. If we don't know who we are, how can we justify continuing our civilization? What civilization? What is that? What do you mean culture? What would that even be doing? What would that look like? I don't know. I thought this was just the natural state of the world. I took it as a given. But that's a conversation that hurts people's feelings. It steps on toes because that's a conversation that draws lines. And I think that there's a very popular impulse that we see which seeks to redirect that effort into something less polarizing, like just finding out which idea led us here, because we like good ideas and we like bad ideas. And that's important to consider because we have to be careful with our desire to intellectualize everything. Because I'll give you an example. I watched the NWA movie recently, the one that came out in like 2015. It's so funny how obvious everything is. Like there's this montage of them on stage rapping about drugs and killing people, and it cuts to a scene of people like burning their CDs and they're like on the bus. Man, you speak a little truth, everybody loses their minds. Boom, cuts back. Drugs, killing people, sex. Then they're at a press conference and they're like, it's a reflection of our reality. No, you idiot. No, these guys aren't making songs lamenting this behavior. Man, it sucks that my neighborhood dangerous. I guess I should have left the Democrat plantation. Like it's all just glorifying it. It's music that is made to glorify and promote disgusting and uncivilized behavior. Just like Maury Povich show, Jerry Springer.
What was you guy talking about? What was Blood yapping about? Let's go back.
Like just finding out which idea led us here, because we like good ideas and we like bad ideas. And that's important to consider because we have to be careful with our desires to intellectualize everything. Because I'll give you an example. I watched the NWA movie recently, the one that came out in like 2015. It's so funny how obvious everything is. Like there's this montage of them on stage rapping about drugs and killing people, and it cuts to a scene of people like burning their CDs and they're like on the bus. Man, you speak a little truth, everybody loses their minds. Boom, cuts back. Drugs, killing people, sex. Then they're at a press conference and they're like,
NWA movie is awesome. This is why John Doyle didn't like the NWA movie.
Thank you, General.
That was a fun movie though. I want to watch it again. So good. So funny.
It's NWA's new record. I wanted to play it for you first before you hear it anywhere else.
Break me, take me, but watch me pull the trigger. Dre's just a nigga with heart, a nigga that's smart, a nigga that's paid to stay with others and scared to play. We started out with too much cargo, so I'm glad we got rid of Benedict Arnold. Yo, NW.
Benedict Arnold.
Are they trying to say that you're like a traitor?
I like how they put it in the script. It's like, let's make it so the black person definitely knows who Benedict Arnold is. Let's be sensitive and make sure the black woman knows who Benedict Arnold is.
Yeah. I'm a fucking traitor. I ain't say shit about them on America's Most Wanted. Now they trying to diss? Goddamn, I'm glad y'all set it off. Used to be hard, now you just went soft. First you was down with the AK. And now I see you on a video with Mission Lay, looking like straight bozos. I saw it coming, that's why I went solo. And kept on stomping.
So good.
Motherfuckers moved straight out of Compton. Living with the whites, one big house, and not another nigga in sight. I started off with too much cargo, dropped 4 niggas, now I'm making all the dough. White man just fooling. The niggas with attitudes, who you fooling? Y'all niggas just phony. I put that on my mama and my dead homies. Yellow boys on your team, so you're losing. Hey, yo, Drake, stick to producing. Calling me owner's quick. You Benedict. Easy E, saw your ass and went in it quick. You got jealous when I got my own company. But I'm a man, and ain't nobody helping me. Trying to sound like American most. You can yell all day, but you don't come close. Cause you know I'm the one that float. You done ran 100 miles, but you still got one to go. With the LENCHMOP and your disgrace to CBT. Cause you get fucked out your green by white boy with no Vaseline. The bigger the cat, the bigger the villain. Who gives a fuck about a punk ass villain? You're getting fucked real quick and easy dick. It's smelling like MC Ren shit. Tried to tell you a year ago, but Willie D told me to let a hoe be a hoe, so I couldn't stop you from getting down. Now let's play Big Bang, take Little Bang. Try to diss Ice Cube, it wasn't worth it cause the broomstick fits your ass so perfect. Cut my hair, now cut them balls, cause I heard you like giving up the draws. Gang bang by your manager, fella, getting money out your ass like a motherfucking ready teller. Giving up the dollar bills, now they got the villain with a purse and high heels. So don't believe what Ren say, cause he's going out like Tooth the Kid Day. But I got a whip for you, Toby. Used to be my homie, now you act like you don't know me. It's a case of divide and conquer, cause you let a juke break up my crew. House nigga gotta run.
It's just kind of funny. That motherfucker got us. Yo, what we about to do?
First thing we're gonna do, we're gonna sue this ignorant fuck. That's what we're gonna do. I don't know, defamation of character, libel, I don't really care. The anti-Semitic piece of fucking shit. Who the fuck does he think he is? Unfucking believable. That kind of fucking bullshit, Jew-bashing bullshit? You know what? I'll call my friends at the JDL. They'll handle him. We'll see how much he likes that.
Jerry, you gotta relax. All right, niggas don't even know what anti-Semitic means anyway. It's just a fucking battle rap.
Come on, Eric, we gotta get organized. We gotta fight this kind of ignorant fucking bullshit. You know what? I always knew that he was a hateful human being. This is just ignorant shit. He calls it political? This is ignorant shit. I always knew it. Now the whole world is gonna know. I'm gonna make sure of that, okay? I don't understand why the fuck you're not more angry about this. Did you hear what he said?
I heard what he said.
Did you hear what he
Daddy.
said?
I heard what he
about
said.
You? About me? Come
You
on.
got your way of dealing with it. I got mine. We could just go to the studio and just end his fucking career anyway.
I don't know about all that. Fine, you do that. You call Dre, and you guys go do that. Do something.
That's why John Doyle doesn't like the movie, because he's beta cuck. Why does he look like a soy boy? Okay, that's gonna be all right. Keck wills it. Now that's a memeable sticker right there. All right, we're doing some new stickers. Let's watch the whole movie. No, we're not watching the whole movie, dude. We need some more stickers. I'm tearing out some stickers here. I'm closing my eyes and I'm picking some stickers to get rid of. All right. All right, out with the old, in with the new. All right. We're adding some stickers. You guys ready? All right, I'm gonna start adding some stickers here. First sticker. First sticker uploaded. Some of these I don't know if I can upload. All right, I gotta upload some of these. They're too good to not upload. Some of these stickers are awesome. Man, there's too many. I got rid of too many stickers. I don't have enough stickers to upload here. Let me add a few. Yeah. That's good. The thing is, these stickers are not suited for what I'm trying to do. It's gonna say file size exceeded, yeah. I'm running out. Okay. All right, we got to go into 2024 with a good mood, though. All right, that's a new sticker. Great additions. Great additions? Yeah, I know. I feel like some of these have been here before. What else? I think I'll do that one. I think I'll. Where is the one that I had? Let's see if I can find it. Very, very compelling radio here. Okay. Dude, some of these are so funny, but I can't show them to you right now. New stickers. Ooh, yeah. Bro, some of these are so good. Oh, man. Oh, you guys want to see a contest? There's a. This is back when they were designing the logo. They had a contest for designing the logo for Monero. This is so long ago. This is how long I've been around the internet. And they were doing a contest for the design. So I created this. This is my submission to the logo. Oh, so good. So good, honestly. It really should have been that. It would have been so much better if it was that. Man, I have some good ones. Then there's another one. Look at this. Why is it not working here? Oh, bro. It's so good. I don't even know what this one's from, though. Let me find it here. At least give us the reject stickers, like the best bull ever. A sticker of the Jewish guy with a speech impediment. No. Look at this. This is another one I came up with for Ultra Coin. Tell me that's not a good design. That's a good design right there. Man. I should have been a graphic designer, honestly. Dude, and this one too? Look at this. Where is it? Yeah, there we are. Look at that for a gaming coin. This is back like when they were making gaming coin. Beautiful Mind. Yeah, these are honestly. See, it's like a C, but it's a coin, and then the 2. Man, I'm so good at stuff. Anyway, let's see something else. I can't do that as the. Something good for the sticker. What should I have as a sticker? One other one? Let's see. Let's DJ Let's Pizza. Okay, we'll do that. There you go. That's an inside joke nobody else will get. All right, let's get back to the retard. Where is he? Bring back this one. I don't even know what that is, Stinger. What is that? Where is that, Stinger? I feel like I'm missing what it is. Well, the thing is, I can't have the pizza one because you guys will make pedophile jokes. Oh, I know what that is. Yeah, that's I can't keep the pizza one because you guys are gonna make stupid jokes. I don't have to deal with people calling me a pedophile. I don't want to deal with that. I don't. Oh, we'll do a different Snulana. Okay, the Willy Wonka Snulana. Is it too big? Yeah, file size exceeded. Come on, I just need to take a screenshot of it, I guess. All right, I'll take a screenshot of it. That's such a good. This is so clean. Oh, it's so good, dude. All right. Tier list, screenshot, 9. There we go. Upload. Do a hot dog sticker instead? No. Bro, I have so many good ones. I generated like 109. I generated 109 Sneelanas. But I couldn't figure out how to put them on Solana for an NFT collection. They wouldn't approve it. And so I'm stuck with a bunch of really cool Reddit ones that I can't use for anything. Like, look at how awesome these are. Tell me you wouldn't want to buy this. You know, I would mint these. This one's funny too. Reddit wife beater. Why does Reddit have to be so cool? It is always so cool, dude. Reddit and AI are my two favorite things, yeah. The Golden Corral Snillana. Yeah, I made so many cool ones that you guys are never gonna see. Night Gallery Snillana. So many deep cuts. Reddit is so cool. Another Snillana with Moby Dick Snillana. Imagine Reddit without censorship, it'd be so fun, yeah. Reddit is already great, but imagine. And this is the Rankin and Bass one. This looks so cool. Look at this. Do you have a Goebbels one? No, you can't make Hitler ones or like racist ones. I was trying to make George Lincoln Rockwell ones, but it wouldn't let me. It was like, nah, it's associated with offensive things. It didn't let me make a Fiddler on the Roof one. But it didn't let me make a Hitler one, unfortunately. I was trying to make one with that picture of Ye, not Jesus and Hitler, but it wouldn't let me. There's some cool ones though. Really are a lot of cool ones. Unfortunately, they're not. I'm not allowed to publish them, so I guess they'll be in my private collection. Look at this one though. This one's awesome. Baked Alaska. He's destroying a thing of Baked Alaska. The snoo is destroying the Baked Alaska, just completely ripping it apart, shredding it apart, killing it. Anyway, let's watch this.
Is a reflection of our reality. No, you idiot. No, these guys are making songs.
What did you use to make these? I was drawing it. Jewish company, I guess, yeah.
Lamenting this behavior. Man, it sucks that my neighborhood dangerous. I guess I should have left the Democrat plantation. Like, it's all just glorifying it. This music that is made to glorify and promote disgusting and uncivilized behavior. Just like the Maury Povich show, Jerry Springer, you take behaviors and attitudes that were unheard of, that were reserved for the lowest classes of society.
Povich, Jerry Springer. What do these names have in common? When those names come to your mind, what does that make you think of? Howard Stern. What do all these people have in common?
And you bring it into everybody's living room, and they can't help but watch because it's so bad, and you laugh at the people who protest your vulgarity and your efforts to subvert a polite and moral culture with this filth as if they're the problem. They're the ones demonstrating antisocial behavior, but it's not enough because people still eat this up. They want what's on the top shelf, the forbidden fruit, all this crap that's in our culture. It's not a matter of, we accepted X and that led to accepting Y. People in
well, if I donate a song, will you get mad? No, I'll take the money, but I might not like the song.
That it was time for music with explicit language and murder and drugs and sex. Well, music has always been about that. Not like this, actually. No, it hasn't always been like that. Maybe you listen to the lyrics of older songs, pick up on some innuendo in a lyric that's being sang, but at least I don't have to worry about my kids picking up on disgusting language because some ghetto whore has been told that she has a constitutional right to broadcast spoken word poetry about her literal asshole.
This is what the music used to be like.
Apparently, there's.
Don't tell me music's gotten worse. Listen to this.
My eyes have seen the glory of the trampling at the zoo. We've watched.
You're saying this is better than the new music. John Doyle likes this music better. Interesting. Interesting that John Doyle likes old music better than this.
You think our friend was behind that? Wow.
Very odd. Very odd that he would make a kind of dog whistle like that. Kind of strange. John Doyle watching like, now that's culture.
To the public, and this was fought in courts. The battle goes on. Eventually, it's too late. People just accept it. They move on. We are obsessed with this intellectual genealogy. This led to this, and then this led to this. Like it's some puzzle that we have to solve. It's people in positions of power making decisions, and us having insufficient power to stop it from happening. Not to say that's not important studying these things, but like we said before, it's not really frog in the pan, or it happens slowly over time without you noticing. It's much more like frog in the blender. It just happens, and you have no way of stopping it, and then it's too late. You're like, I think I might be in a blender right now. Yep, darkness, it's over. But frog in the pan, that's a comforting lie because it implies an absolving of responsibility. How could we have stopped this? It was too subtle to notice. Really? These drastic societal changes, which were all thoroughly protested and argued against, that were just under the radar. The problem is, like now, most people don't care enough to work against what does not immediately affect them because they take their lives for granted. They enjoy the day-to-day pleasantries, and they'd rather just continue that. And this is fine. It's normal. It's essentially unavoidable. But what does matter is that people who do notice these things stay focused and not be led astray by their respective distractions of the day, which for someone interested in politics might be 5 days spent discussing a calendar. Because at the end of the day,
Sexy Red saved my life. The thing is, I know that that's whatever that lady is, her name, but I don't think I've ever heard that name before. It's like I know exactly who you're talking about. There's that whatever that lady is, and I know she's a rapper. I couldn't name one song though. I'm too old for this culture.
And you know this if you talk to people about things. Nobody really supports these things. If they had a button in front of them that would just make them all go away in an instant, leaving everything else the same, they would hit that button. The problem is, and this is just the way people are, most people just do not care enough to actually put in the effort to oppose these things. So we might be black-pilled when we see, oh, support for gay marriage at an all-time high. No, it's not. What that means is that most people have just surrendered because the battle has been lost. Most people aren't going to actively push back against something and risk having their lives ruined by the alphabet mafia, as it's referred to, simply for voicing an opinion that was considered normal until just a few years ago. And so they prefer to just take the normie morality of, well, hey, I don't care what anybody does, so long as it makes them happy and they leave me alone. So yeah, they support it, but they really just want to be left alone. And they mistakenly think that their best route to that is just surrendering the issue. And that really is one of our biggest problems. One of our biggest tasks is going to be getting people who are at their core.
Pound Town. I don't even know what Pound Town is. All right.
Or productive, polite people who really just want to mind their own business to realize that they are the exception now. And if they want to leave a country behind to their children and to their grandchildren, they're going to have to become impolite and imposing and channel their productivity into cleansing the rot from our society. And that all means that they're going to be called mean. That's the choice. You can have your country back, or you can avoid being called mean. There's no third path. And if you can get enough people to that point, then things will look a lot better for us. And support, being properly understood, is just surrender. That's very.
I don't like being called mean. I'm gonna hang back on this one, dude. I'm not in the mood to be called mean, so I'll just chill out.
Important to this. We're going to need power to do this in institutions that work to curate the opinion of the public. Take back the universities. You want to know something about that? I don't think the woke colleges and universities are a problem to the degree that conservatives would have you believe. They're a problem. We have to take care of that. But a lot of what I hear about that is coming from people who haven't.
If you want to actually oppose rap, you'd expose the Jews taking advantage of blacks. Rap doesn't need to be opposed because what happens, and this is, I already can feel it in myself. Rap is really fun if you're like a high T man who's like fun when you're young. And as you get older, it becomes less appealing. It becomes more retarded. It becomes more like stupid. You don't need to oppose it. It's literally just like appealing to people who want to have fun, who are young, who are kind of like a little edgy. And it's not fun anymore when you're older. It's like retarded. You don't want to hear it. And you're like, pull up your pants. All right? I'm sick of black people. I had my fun. Now no more black people. I'm not a child anymore. That's kind of the vibe. You never need to really oppose. Rap is just a natural fun thing for young people.
Been to college in decades and they see what's going on at the school.
Yo, thank you, Thuggies.
Thuggies sent $10.
If this is pornographic, I'm gonna skip it.
Just let it right now. If you don't know that bitch, you heard it. The dreadheads do it the best.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for that. I really appreciate that. Rap is Based talks about murder and ruining people's lives. Yeah, the good stuff. But I've always hated the gay rap, like stupid, like fun rap. It's only psychotic rap that's fun. But as you get older, it's like you don't like it anymore, and that's just how it works because it's not, you're not on the warpath. You're too old. I'm getting too old to be on the warpath anymore. I'm not a soldier anymore in the streets. When you're a soldier in the streets, it makes sense to enjoy rap because it's war music. But when you're old, you're not in the war mode anymore. Now you're relaxing. Now I'm relaxing.
They assume that there's a large causal link. They think they're just churning out these radical Marxists. Allow me to share some insight into what's really going on here. During my stint in higher education, I had to take one of those really woke classes. It was mandatory. It was all about race and power imbalances and the oppression of the different groups by straight white men to varying degrees throughout America's history. It's exactly what you're imagining it as in your head. And I, being a black person expert, though at the time I wasn't yet accredited, passed the class with 100%. There was not a single point available to me in this class which I did not obtain. And the reason for that is that I understand what these people think about the world at a level of fluency where I can just answer all their questions perfectly off the top of my head. And the fun part—
That was me. I was like a genius when I went and I took the prerequisite for. What degree did he go for? Did he go for political science? Is that what he went to? I'm betting it wasn't STEM. I bet he didn't go to school for STEM.
Part for me wasn't, starting an argument, playing devil's advocate, maybe back in high school, but at this point I had nothing to prove. So what I derived a great sense of enjoyment from was answering questions and writing essays, which if you're a liberal, you would think, oh, this is so great, this is so inclusive. But if you know me, then you're reading this and you're like, wait a minute, is he making a case for, so, just things like that. So that was a lot of fun. And everyone that I talked to throughout this,
that was fun. This class is so fun. Oh, I love this class. The college class is so fun. What the heck, dude? School's for losers. Grades are for losers.
It's an easy class, which maybe I was, but we're not solving like differential equations or anything, so it's going to be comparatively easy. But I would show my assignments and my essays to friends and family, and there was a ton of material that would be included that they weren't familiar with or they hadn't heard of, and so I realized it just sort of worked out in my favor because you draw me in like a mythology class. Okay, now I actually have to do the reading because I don't know a lot about mythology. So it just happened to work out for me because I've spent hours a day, every day for the past 10 years reading about this stuff, and so when it comes time to be evaluated like that, it's like, okay, this is the easiest thing ever. But I'll tell you this, so we had to do these group discussions where we'd say something and then we'd all respond to each other, and I went into this class, by the way, thinking like, okay, great, another humiliation ritual, this is just going to be totally debasing, whatever, I'll get through it. What I actually saw was
me going to school like, another humiliation ritual. I've never, that's the weirdest thing too. It's not like a humiliation ritual. It's more like these people are absolutely retarded and I don't respect them. I guess you'd have to like think of them as your betters to think it's a humiliation ritual instead of being like, yeah, this is retarded and for retarded people. And I am so much better than all these people. That's like the proper healthy response. It's not like it's a humiliation ritual. It's like, wow, I'm in the presence of morons and I'm so much better, more of a person than these people.
You had your typical woke MLK wannabe preacher types who were legitimately illiterate. Like I would read the things that they would write. I could understand what they were saying, but it was not well written at all. It also wasn't what you would typically expect like bad writing to look like. Like it was presented very pretentiously. Like it made an attempt at punctuation and structure. The best way I can describe it is if you took a rock that you found on the ground and you just polished it really hard to try to make it look cool. That was like the quality of writing from these people. But you had, of course, those kinds of kids and a handful of like white liberal types. The average kid though in the class, totally disengaged from the material. The average white kid was like, well, I don't understand why people say reverse racism isn't real, and I don't like being stereotyped as dumb just because I'm blonde. And I'm like, wait a minute, the sun is coming out. These kids weren't buying it at all. We'd submit our final project. They had to be a creative expression of what we had learned in the class. It was worth 500 points. The biggest assignment of the semester. And this one girl wrote the stupidest poem of all time. It was like 30 words. That was her final project. 500 points. And it's not even that she's like a bad poet.
If you're in a party full of morons, then he's like taking it seriously, taking a stupid retard class seriously.
Necessarily or whatever. She obviously just did not care about any of it. And then I'm reading the peer feedback, and it's guys like, wow, Zoe, I can tell you put a lot of effort into this. This is so impactful. I'm like, dude, no freaking way. Are we back right now? Do I see somebody on this?
He's having sex with her, bro. Newsflash, John Doyle. The professors at community college for English are having sex with girls from the class. Newsflash, John Doyle. The English professors are having sex with students. I know it's surprising, but they're having sex with the college students that they find sexy. And that's why they write retarded stuff. It's not that hard to figure out why he wrote that. Because he was banging her. And you wanted to. That's why you paid attention. That's how you knew her specific paper. Not because it stood out. It's because you were sad. You were jealous. And he was banging her.
Do I forward this to the work back department? These kids just don't care. Nobody took it seriously. So I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, what is causing this then? What is the problem? I thought about it. Have you spoken to the average college student, let alone one who has to take classes like this? They're not retaining the information. The average IQ of a college student has been dropping. It's been dropping for a while. And resultantly, curriculums are getting dumbed down. They're getting more woke. But why is this happening? Are the woke colleges and universities really to blame? Sure, to some extent. But there's something else that we ignore. And this is something that we're going to get into in one of those videos that I mentioned earlier, about the American identity, sovereignty that I mentioned in the last video. A lot of what people regard to be the woke young generation, it's really easy to view it through that lens. It's not so uncomfortable. But a lot of that woke young generation can be explained by the fact that Gen Z, Gen Alpha, these are majority minority generations of teenagers, students. Most of them are non-white. And if being woke is defined in practice by, supporting efforts which seek to subvert a nation that was established as an Anglo-Saxon country and culture.
Niggas be dumb, he's saying. So essentially, niggas be dumb.
And values, which date back literally thousands of years, should it really be so surprising that as the youngest generation becomes further removed from Northwestern Europe, that the country that they want to live in and will work towards living in looks very little like Northwestern Europe? Or on that note, when you bring in millions of people from non-Western countries into Northwestern Europe, that it stops looking and functioning and feeling like Northwestern Europe?
So what you're saying is niggas be dumb, huh?
Surprising? You look at the data, you find out that 4 in 10 Gen Zers say the founding fathers are better described as villains. What the heck? The woke kids, damn it. Okay, maybe. But you look at the data on this, and what you see is a single-digit percentage of white people will describe the founding fathers as villains. 9%. Even college-educated white women, 6%. Oh, but everything is the fault of liberal white women. Cringe, grow up. Yeah, really edgy. Whoa, you insulted liberal white women. You better not let George Soros and Klaus Schwab find out about that, or else the freaking CIA might assassinate you kill style. You gotta understand, we know what's going on with the woman stuff. We get it. We discussed it at length in the last video. But it's just like denigrating Italians, French, Canadians.
Hoes ain't loyal.
It's, you can be edgy as much as you want.
Niggas straight retarded, and these hoes ain't loyal. That's basically what John Doyle's saying.
Target is ultimately white. That's how the game is played. But anyways, 6% of college-educated white women describe the founding fathers as villains. Meanwhile, about 40% of black people, over a quarter of Hispanics, about a third generally of all non-whites describe the founding fathers that way. And this is even despite the fact that those demographics are far less likely to attend the woke indoctrination camps. Wow, crazy that the woke education seems to be the most effective in populations which have an incentive to believe it already, or perhaps even a grudge against the targets of it based on envy, what their parents told them, something else. Crazy. And people struggle with this because white people mostly interact with other white people, especially about politics. And when they do talk to non-white people about politics, a lot of times it'll be at work or something, and there's like a shared moment between guys laughing at a gay person or at a sexist joke or something. Maybe you get your haircut at a black barbershop, and you're like, wow, we're not so divided after all.
None of that ever happens. The water cooler isn't even real. People don't go to offices. There's no joke at a water cooler. What are you talking about? You don't even have a job. I've worked in an office longer than John Doyle has, and I've worked for about a few months in an office. And it wasn't that. It was talking about doing a marathon run, and me lying about considering going on a marathon run. So my boss thought I was a team player. I had black barber shop. That's a meme. It's not real.
But you remove a lot of the more absurd stuff from the conversation, start talking to people about how they actually want society to be structured, where the money goes, where the people go, you'll find that things become very different very quickly, especially when you're not in a setting like that. You're just in your community and the other guy's in his community.
If I had to guess, millennials, if there are any millennials, they sit at their desk eating. They don't go to the water cooler to talk. And if they do, they're probably special needs. They're probably legitimately 105, 110 IQ. The actual white people who are millennials, who are intelligent, are not either eating at their desk or working from home. They're not going to a water cooler to hang out. Because the people going to a water cooler to hang out are retarded people.
Yeah, it's not surprising that as generations get younger, we see that they are consistently more likely
to get earbuds in. Yeah.
Founding fathers as villains, say America's an unfair society, that significant changes are needed, various policies moving around, a number changing.
German workers protesting. Germans, I don't care. It doesn't matter. What are you going to protest? Are you protesting the Holocaust? Because that's the only thing. Until Germans make a statement about denying the Holocaust, getting you arrested, I don't want to hear anything about it. It's not relevant. Until they can stand up and refuse to lie about themselves, They're completely irrelevant. They're never going to fix their problem, because what's going to happen, and I've told people this before, but I'll tell you guys again, is America is going to break out. And it already is right now. It's breaking out. With Trump was like the first crack in terms of mass culture. Nick is like another big example. Mario Newfall, even though he's not really doing anything, he's talking. But it's American platform, Twitter. All this stuff. Vivek a little bit. America's going to break out of this weird pattern, and it's not going to get all better. It's not like everything's going to get fixed. It's just people don't really care because there's no reason to care anymore. It's not like you have anything to lose, or much to lose. The stuff you gain immediately after being honest is at this point not quite as good as the stuff you lose immediately, but very soon after, you very quickly make up anything you lost by being honest if you're young. Eventually, and we're pretty close to the point where you might not even lose anything, but if you do lose stuff, whatever you gain is going to be tangentially tangentially better immediately. Immediately losing the stuff you lose from being honest about stuff will be way better. The stuff you gain will outweigh the stuff you lose immediately. It won't even be like you have to have faith that being honest is going to lead in the right direction. And America will change, and that's going to happen even more so than now. And what happens after that is Europe, because Europe has a weird mental illness where they are insecure about America. And who wouldn't be? They're going to double down on stuff, because we're not like those hicks. We're not like those rednecks. We're not like those, those mutts over there. We're not like those uncultured swine, those gun grabbing, the people who have their guns and their school shootings and they worship God and they're Christians, those backward hicks over in America. And they're going to double down on all the anti-Semitism stuff. They're going to double down on the rules like they did like they're doing in Australia, even though that's not that's not Europe. They're going to double down on that sort of thing. And it's going to get even worse because they're going to prove they're going the wrong way. So we're going to double down on feminism. We're going to double down on transgenderism, homosexuality, anti-racism, that sort of stuff, because they're facts. That's like at the end of the day, like the real truth of the matter. And until you see Germans doing public demonstrations about not being able to deny the Holocaust, you can't take anything they do seriously. No protest matters, because that's like living in a house and your mom is telling you, you can't be a guy. You can't be a guy. You can't be a guy. Either you end up being a guy and you get thrown out of the house, or you spurg out, or you just become a eunuch or homosexual. And everything indicates they're just homosexuals. Until they deny the Holocaust and they have public demonstrations about the rules where you can't deny the Holocaust, you can't take anything they do seriously, because it doesn't matter. They're just literally cucked. America is going to fix itself. It's going to be nasty and it's going to be weird. And it's not going to be like utopia, but it's going to be actually gnarly in a good way instead of gnarly in a bad way. Europe's just going to get worse. I should publicly deny the Holocaust? You should not. You should just not. It doesn't matter.
It's not that significant. That's how the government works. When they say significant changes, that means things like defunding the police. That means radical woke stuff that we're seeing now. That's what they're talking about. They don't just mean like increasing entitlements by 2%, something like that. Okay, so what's the real issue here? Look at my case, for example. You could never convince me to be ashamed of my heritage. I don't have that impulse in me. I took it upon myself to go the distance, do all the reading, just out of my own curiosity. When I was in school, I said what I had to say to get A's, but at the same time, I never lied. Now I have that sense of pride. I also know the...
Let's say pride now. That's another thing I don't get. I don't have any pride. Well, I do have pride in being Irish, the master race, Jewish. But the pride I have is like my family and like myself, my own achievements and my lineage, not like general history. There's cool stuff I respect, but it's not personal pride. It's like I have a lot of respect for certain things and certain people I'm not related to, in certain groups that I'm part of, but I'm not really like, oh, I'm doing this. I have a lot of respect and admiration for a lot of people, but I don't have pride for that.
Information to justify it. But the information was second. What came first was a fire in my belly, that spirit. I felt a sense of pride in my identity. You could never indoctrinate somebody like me. And you really can't indoctrinate someone like me, but who just never cared enough to do all the reading for himself, so he doesn't have all the real information necessarily, but at the same time, he's not buying into what they're teaching him in school. Because people who have a pride in their identity and in their heritage would never agree to its deconstruction or the deconstruction of the civilization that descends from that, which is what woke seeks to do. So the problem isn't really the information, it's that Americans are demoralized. And we're demoralized because we know that we're an occupied nation. We haven't had our interests put first in decades. We're embarrassed on the global stage. We're sold out. It's humiliating. Let alone everything that we see in the media, in advertisements, etc. And we've seen data too.
Now, when the American foreign affairs ministers talk off Europe will be fixed, it will not, dude. I'm sorry, it's not. They're the LUI. We're the Morlocks. Americans are Morlocks, and Europeans are LUI.
kids that they're evil, that lowers their self-esteem.
Because look at Pride in My Tranny Son. Look at the actual history of America. There's the Oxford Dictionary or Oxford History of the American People. I still haven't finished it, but I really want to. It's really good. It's retarded about Hitler and later stuff because that's around when it was written. But basically what you see, all the immigration to America, and I'm not part of this group, right? My family came after both sides. But America was essentially the most adventurous. A lot of rascals, a lot of bad people, but mostly good people, mostly autistic people all across Europe. And it's not just once. It's this wave after wave, generation after generation of people, the most adventurous, the most risk-taking, the most like forward-thinking, the most autistic and like obstinate and most adventurous people. Most of them dying after they get here, but some not. And that's the stock of America. The stock of America is all the best people from Europe over and over and over and over again. And I don't mean the richest. I don't mean the most respected. I mean the people who have the most genetic potential. It's just wave after wave after wave after wave of interesting people, people with very unique personalities, people with very strong beliefs, people with very, very, very autistic dreams and very, very nuanced and like thoughtful behavior. A lot of it wrong, a lot of it like deranged. But that's like those people. If you're going to be somebody who's adventurous, somebody who's wild, for multiple generations, there's just wave after wave of those people going into America. Now Canada's a little different because it was basically more like Coomers and Frenchmen who wanted to have sex and get drunk, and that's cool, good for them. That's not me, but I respect French people. So Canada is a lot different in its character because the people. It wasn't really like they were trying to create a country for a while. It was more they were just trading. They would go in, meet up with Indians, have sex with Indian women, leave them after they got pregnant, take the furs, get drunk, go back, get more women pregnant, go back, get furs, trade. And so they got along better with the Indians than Americans did for a long time because they were really just kind of rascals, and they would just go in, have sex, get drunk, gamble, and then go back and do more trading.
Don't have self-esteem, how can you believe in your own existence? How can you justify its continuation or the continuation of your culture, your country, your ways of life? It's not that they've been taught compelling information, which wins the argument to a careful mind. It's that they've been
Australia is a prison colony, so they are all slaves. No, Australia is different. Australia is, I always thought that, but I've learned it's not actually, it was a good amount of slaves, or not a good amount of prisoners, which actually isn't a bad thing, honestly, because the prisoners have defects, but I always remember when I went to jail, it's like most of the people in jail are retarded. Almost everybody was. But most of them also had this light in their eyes that most people don't. People who have jobs don't. Like people in Australia, and you can see it in Australians, they're a lot more wild and a lot more free, and they actually have a soul, whereas a lot of people's souls are dead, and they come from a long line of dead-souled, dead-eyed people. Whereas prisoners and criminals usually have a certain sort of energy and a certain sort of light in their eyes that's real, that is more protagonist. And that causes a lot of problems, right? There's a lot of people who have that do bad things. They go to, they get messed up. It doesn't mean you're a good person, but it means you have a lot more of a personality.
Thuggies sent $5.
Country right there, Mr. Cutting.
Bro, I hate Kings of New York. Anglo-LARP.
I see no Americans. I see trespassers. Irish hops. Do a job for a nickel what a nigger does for a dime, and a white man used to get a quarter for. What have they done? Name one thing they've contributed.
Irish people
votes who
stunting on this freak.
They vote how the Archbishop tells them, and who tells the Archbishop? Their king in the pointy hat, what sits on his throne in Rome.
Good for them, dude.
Bill's got mixed feelings as regards the Irish.
Bill, deliver these good and fervent folk to the polls on a regular basis, and there'll be a handsome price for each vote goes Tammany's way.
Anglos suck so bad, dude.
My father gave his life making this country what it is. Murdered by the British with all of his men on the 25th of July, Anno Domini 1814. You think I'm gonna help you befoul his legacy? By giving this country over to them was had no hand in the fighting for it.
Irish are better. Leonardo, he's like, don't worry, I don't care about your spurging. Leo, such a boss.
Generations of people who are now just limping along, waiting to be put out of their misery. These kids are already depressed. They're mentally ill. They're spiritually ill. They are sick from chemicals and endocrine disruptors. They're fat. They just want to die. They literally just want to die. In the universities, they hand them the tools to articulate why maybe that's not such a bad thing. And that's why they start crying. You talk to these kids long enough about these issues, they start crying. They identify with the struggles of the lower classes of people because they themselves are struggling. They identify with narratives of victimization because they themselves are depressed. People's attitudes towards the world, towards politics, they're far more informed by what they see in the media, on social media.
Adam King, illuminated Catholic, the true opposition to Jewish power. Yeah, dude. I don't think I'll ever be Catholic. That's just because I respect my mom. And she doesn't like Catholics. I don't think my dad likes Catholics either, but my mom's very autistic. I don't want to disrespect her. You know, I like her. I love her, so I'm not going to do that. But, dude, it is crazy how much, when you realize how much they actually just hate Catholics more than anyone, you think, bro, what the heck? It is very odd. And you're like, it is like, wait a second, all the media stuff, it is actually, wait a second. Very, very odd. Paul Talon be Catholic? Nah, I don't think so. Adam King didn't mention it, but by Catholic, he meant Irish people. That's true. But yeah, that is strange when you realize all the media hates Catholic people.
By what they're learning in schools. Notice how you've never once met a well-adjusted white liberal. They don't exist, especially the younger ones. All the well-adjusted white kids are like center right, but they'll say they're apolitical because they don't feel like getting nagged. The reason kids become liberal is because of resentment.
Wait until she's dead, thinking for the next. No, dude. No. I already gave my mom enough grief when I was going crazy. All right. So my thing is I gave enough grief, and then now I don't give grief. I try not to give grief. Irish people are like black people. They love their mothers, all right?
The world around them, they resent themselves. It's all driven by resentment, obviously. All change is going to be linked to resentment, since you kind of have to at least resent something a little bit if you want to work towards changing it, right? Now imagine the amount of resentment you'd have to store within yourself, within your being, to make your entire worldview about eternal, indefinite change and revolution never satisfied. It's because these people are insatiable. They'll never be satisfied because the problem isn't with the world or with society, it's with them. That's why Instagram Reels are doing far more to get the youth in the right direction than just urging them to read, like, Thomas Paine or take a free class about the Constitution. These kids don't become this way because of their classes, so much as they do because of their social groups, because of the media, popular culture, etc. Yeah, education's important. K-12 probably even more important for things like this. But you could get rid of Marxist professors in every college or university in the country, and I guarantee you, things would more or less stay the same, especially 5 years afterwards. There'd be some change, but it would not be drastic. The information is not the driving factor here. You cannot demoralize people with data points and history and facts and logic if they are proud of themselves. Maybe over time, but certainly not within a generation or two. Imagine trying to convince black people that they shouldn't be proud of themselves. Imagine trying to teach black people that they should be ashamed of their history. That would not work. They would not believe you, no matter what you told them. We don't have high schoolers on our side, reading the books that they're reading because they had a base teacher or something like that. We have them reading the books that they're reading because they saw.
All time reminds me of a base person, my Jewish liberal friend. Dude, there is I knew a Jewish guy when I went to community college. I can't tell the story, but he was so annoying. He was so annoying. But he went to Russia. I don't know why. He was studying something. He went to Russia. Had family there for some reason. Base version Jewish liberal friend. But I get along with Jewish people. I love Jewish people. I'm a big fan of Jewish people. Whenever I see them, I wave to them. Say hi. Say hi. And I say hi, and we go about our day.
Engage at it on TikTok or iFunny or something, right? They felt proud of themselves and they followed that impulse down the rabbit hole. What good is the information by itself? In order for people to believe good things about themselves, they have to believe that they themselves are good, that they excel, that they're capable of such good things. And Americans do believe that. Americans are patriotic, very patriotic by nature, and Americans want permission to.
Did he have a giant fur hat? No, he just looked extremely dysgenic, bad Jewish teeth, bad Jewish genes, kind of like the Eric Weinstein type look, but younger and more Sephardic, like very, very like ugly.
Starving for that permission. And if we're keeping score, there's a lot to be proud of, frankly, and whoever gives them that permission to be proud of themselves is going to win. The left gives them permission to be proud of their contribution to social justice or whatever, handing away the torch of their civilization. We are too scared to give them permission to be proud of rejecting that, rejecting the idea.
Nope, I don't give people, you don't have permission to be proud. Pride, if you have pride from being given permission, you don't actually have pride, you're a slave. I don't want to give permission to anybody to be prideful. I wouldn't give permission to people to be prideful. I would say be proud of who you are. Be proud of your family, be proud of where you come from, people who inspired you, people who taught you, people you came from. I wouldn't give permission. You give permission? What are you, my mommy? No.
Yeah, that there was anything wrong structurally and fundamentally with our society at any point. It's like we said years ago. Don't tread on me versus silence is violence. People like strength. People gravitate towards strength. Don't tread on me says, I want to be left alone, so leave me alone. And if you don't, maybe something will happen. I don't know. Where silence is violence says, you literally have to participate enthusiastically in our cause, or else you are morally transgressive. That sounds like confident messaging. That sounds like something that takes itself seriously. Doesn't care about being smug. We're getting one over.
Paul's having a gas-powered generator powering your all-electric pedal assist bicycle illegal. Are you a felon? Did you get a DUI or something? That's like a DUI. That's DUI behavior.
Coworker or the extended relative, it takes itself seriously. That's why it wins. The anti-white stuff, the anti-Western stuff, those are the tools that they have been given by society to articulate the more subconscious messaging that people feel, which is that we suck. It's not a coincidence that you cannot find a single straight.
That's how gay everything got. It's like people with like DUIs and like felonies. They used to buy flashlights and that's meth head stuff. Flashlights and knives. Now they're buying motorized bicycles instead of violent tools to rob people. They're actually just buying bikes.
In advertising. It's not for you. The last classically masculine pop culture icon, James Bond, kill him off, talking about replacing him with a black guy. There's an impulse of envy and erasure of white culture while simultaneously claiming that there's no such thing as white culture. But a big component too is removing the ability of white people to see themselves portrayed positively in any way that is separate from being subservient.
James Bond takes orders from a woman. All right, he's not a man.
A woke narrative or agenda. Captain America, he's good because he fights for gay rights. Bigot, but by themselves, independently from helping.
Captain America sucks. So gay. Captain America is so cringe, and if you didn't know he was cringe right away, you're gay.
which means paying for them to do literally whatever they want. I mean, that's how an AI would interpret this whole system. White people aren't cool, they're cringe, they're dorky, they're bland, their music is lame, blah, blah, blah. And then we're like, oh, okay, because we're afraid to speak about ourselves positively. Because if we really started keeping score, that would make people uncomfortable.
Okay, name 5 white artists who are good. Name 5 Zoomer artists that are good. There aren't any. Sorry. Matt Ox. Matt Ox. That's one good guy. Besides that, though, who's a good white artist? Who's young? Billie Eilish. She's all right. She was a lot better. I haven't heard anything recently of hers, but I guess I'm too old. Hitler, and Hitler. Ice Spice. She's not white. Ice Spice is not white. Ice Spice is some black girl, right?
It's about the information. That's important, but who is learning that information?
Tenrio. Yeah, Chief Keef Tenrio. Mac DeMarco. I'm saying young. I'm not talking... Look, if you think Mac DeMarco is young, Mac DeMarco is older than me, and he's kind of cringe, dude. But he's good. He has some good music. But that's millennial. That's early millennial. That's late millennial. Mac DeMarco, bro. He's probably 33. He's like John Mayer. He's awesome. John Mayer's awesome. Paul Town. Yeah, I'm not young. I'm 30. He's 33. McBriar Samuel Lanyon DeMarco, born Werner Winfield McBriar Smith IV. His great-grandfather is Werner Smith, Alberta's former Minister of Railways and Telephones, for whom DeMarco is named. And his grandfather was a judge of the Court of King's Bench in Alberta. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's wild. Oh, yes. My favorite musical artist, Werner Winfield McBriar Smith IV. Oh, who do you listen to? Oh, I like to relax by listening to Werner Winfield McBriar Smith IV. That's based, but that's crazy.
How do they feel about themselves? Through what lens are they going to be interpreting that information? Who's it intended for? What's the purpose of it? These are the real questions. We're going to have to answer those. But I do want to go through still our year in review. 2023, the year we made culture, the year we fought woke. All right, remember this guy? Remember Oliver Anthony?
You're not keeping up with the Zoomer emo rap? Yeah, because I'm not a pedo, dude. I'm not on like drugs either. At my age, the only people who are listening to young person music, like purposefully, instead of like every once in a while hearing, oh, this is good, are pedophiles who want to relate to like young women, and then also people who are on like Xanax and burnouts, like weed, Xanax, pills. That's really the only people my age, like 30s, who are listening to new stuff. Oh, Corpse Husband, yeah.
Insane for this guy. Literally overnight, all the biggest talking heads were posting this guy. This is what making culture is. This is the way. And then it ended up not working out so well in the end. I swear to God, to this day, I have not heard the song beyond like 10-second clips. And I don't know if these people have just never heard a country song before, or maybe they're so used to listening to, you know, the hypnotizing rap music or pop music that when they hear what a real voice and real performance with an instrument sounds like, they're just like, wow, we just discovered fire. I don't know. Honestly, I couldn't bring myself to buy into the hype. And I remember deliberately not commenting on it.
That wasn't real country music. That was retarded music. This is real country music. You want to hear real country music for nowadays? It's this. Oh, Bon Iver, I guess. Bon Iver is good.
I just want this shit to be over. I just want my dad to be closer. I just want my bro to be sober. I just want my mama.
No, this is good right here. But this is actually the better one. What's his name? Jim Croce. Jim Croce. I love Jim Croce. He's so good. He's so good, dude. This is one of my favorite songs. Country music and wear a cowboy hat. We need Branson to do one of these. So good.
I've got a name. I've got a name. Like a singing bird.
Yeah, I'm gonna subscribe.
So
good.
I've got a name. I've got a name. And I carry it with me like my daddy did. But I'm living the dream that he cared.
I like this. Have you never heard this before, Dog Tuna? How old are you? I thought you were old. You must be young. This is real music. Ah, sip. Good music. This is my generation's Heave Ho.
Like a north wind whistling down the sky. I've got a song. I've got a song. Like a whippoorwill in the the baby's
Elvis song written by Charles Fox.
I've got a song. I've got a song.
Who's Charles?
And I carry it with.
Who wrote it though? Composer Norman Gimbel. Charles Fox. Dude, you try to ruin everything for me. Kill yourself. Kill yourself.
If it gets me nowhere, I go there proud. Bend me down the highway.
Aaron, did you know this good song with nothing subversive that's purely like inspirational and comfy? It's actually a Jew who wrote it. It's like cool. I don't care.
Rolling me down the highway. Moving the hills till life won't pass me by.
So good. Yeah, you know who my favorite directors are? Is the Coen brothers. So chew on that, Nazi. All right, chew on that. I like the Coen brothers.
At the time, because it was one of those things, everyone is so hot over this guy that if I say anything critical, I'm just gonna get dogpiled, and that just, was not worth it to me over something like this. Why are you being defeatist? We have to make culture. You're just jealous. This is what taking the culture back looks like. Look, this guy made a song. Let him make a song. Let him cook. Stop trying to make it into this new conservative national.
Let's get back to talking about how Zoomers are retarded. Let him cook. It's all right, bro. All right, sir. I think perhaps it's you who's been something else, turned into a black person.
Because that just brings it away from being culture. And maybe that's what ended up messing everything up. People expected way too much from this guy. But like we said, culture is an expression of the
A
soul.
ton of great music. That's a genuine contribution they made. Yeah, probably. That's why the Pied Piper, the warning of the Pied Piper. Let's do a little. Let's learn.
The Pied Piper of Hamelin.
Time for you guys to learn why the Pied Piper.
Hamelin was a small town in Germany. The city was full of rats. Hamelin was truly a rat's paradise. They were in houses, in inns, in shops. Tough to take proper steps, as it was.
You're telling me this happened in Germany? Interesting. Very subtle. Very subtle. I have an IQ of 128 and have a hard time relating to people because of how inferior they are to me. Thoughts? Imagine that feeling, but imagine you had 160 IQ. That's me.
Of all the
Anonymous, I appreciate it.
To him, he
Oh, this is good. I was listening to the other day. This is really good. I was sitting in the car listening to this.
Just got out from the county prison doing 90 days for non-support. Tried to find me an executive position, but no matter how smooth I talk, they wouldn't listen to the fact that I was a genius. The man said we got all that we can use. Now I got them steadily depressing, low down mind messing, working at the car wash blues. Well, I shouldn't be sitting in an air-conditioned office in a swivel chair.
I'm doing.
Talking some trash to the secretary, say, hey now mama, come on over here. Instead I'm stuck here, rubbing these fenders with a rag and walking home in soggy old shoes. With them steadily depressing, low down mind messing,
So good.
working at the car wash blues. You know a man of my ability, he should be smoking on a big cigar. But till I get myself straight, I guess I'll just have to wait in my rubber suit, rubbing these cars. Well, all I can do is to shake my head. You might not believe that it's true. But working at this end on Niagara Falls is a undiscovered Howard Hughes. So baby, don't expect to see me with no double martini and in my highbrow society news. Cause I got them steadily depressing, low down mind messing, working at the car wash blues.
So good.
Baby, don't expect to see me with no double martini and in my highbrow society.
kind of the same sticker. Thank you very much. That was very, very awesome. I like that. By the way, $20 is the minimum dono from now on.
All of the people and the soul of conservatives is eternally smug. Oliver Anthony made a decent song, but more importantly, he gave people the hope that one day the libs may in fact could be owned. But with most of these other examples, you see conservatives, they try to make something, they try to make culture. It's a smug.
Oh, you know what made me pissed is I saw Loki's tweet. There's a very specific term that leftist freaks use. It's like this owns. Oh, this rules. This owns and this rules. And I saw Loki Julianus did that. It owns that. And it's like, dude, kill yourself. You can find it. It made me so mad. I was like, oh, I hate this person. Where is it? Oh, this guy's a pedophile, by the way. He doxed me because he was mad. He was mad I was saying freaking out about age of consent is not healthy because you don't have to worry about it.
Anonymous sent $10. He wrote this for his wife right before he died.
The night before he died.
If I could save time in a bottle, the first thing that I'd like to do is to save every day till eternity passes away, just to spend them with you. If I could make
people on this website managed to make Hasidic jive jumping out of a storm drain and running away from the cops unfunny. It's not funny, funny dude.
Come true.
You mean a Jew, not a Hasidic guy, a Jew.
Save every day like a treasure, and then again I would spend them with you. But there never seems to be
I'm a Hasidic guy.
Do the things you want to do once you find them.
I mean, sure, you can keep chimping out about rape tunnels like a retard. They were probably just committing some type of tax fraud. You know how you commit tax fraud? By digging tunnels with bloody mattresses and child high chairs. I love to commit tax fraud by digging a tunnel and putting a bloody mattress inside of it.
And dreams that had never come true. The box would be
seething.
Except
where is it? Where is this stupid? I can't. I hate this.
They were answered by you. But there
here we are.
Seems to be enough time to do the things you want to do once you find them.
So good.
Looked around enough to know
IRS confused by my tunnels. They can't get to my house. They can't charge me with tax evasion because I have too many tunnels. Paul Town wrote, "It is a secret right before he died." Dude. That kind of was my stress died once I finished my 3 books. Like my discontent about life died once I finished writing my books. Yeah, this makes you
sent $10.
This gay. You just know this person's homosexual. Thank you, Swatch. I didn't really like Gordon Lightfoot. Gordon Lightfoot was meh. Jim Croce is so much better than Gordon Lightfoot or John Denver. John Denver's alright. He has a few good ones. He's kind of too hippy-dippy. But Jim Croce is so good. I just finished it this week and loved it. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
And it's bad, Leroy Brown, the baddest man in the whole damn town.
It's a good song. I like his other songs better. This says damn, and I don't like curse words. So we never really listened to this one as a kid because this had damn in it. So we weren't big fans of this in my household. But all the other ones I like. Time in a Bottle. That's Just the Way It Goes.
He got a 32 gun in his pocket for fun. He got a razor.
I'll show you guys a good one.
Leroy Brown, baddest man in the whole downtown, better than old King Kong, and meaner than a junkyard.
This one's classic.
We're Friday, about a week ago, Leroy shooting dice, and at the edge of the bar sat a girl named
James Joseph Croce.
That girl looked nice. Well, he cast his eyes upon her, and the trouble soon began. Leroy Brown, he turned to mess about a mess with the wife of a jealous man.
You slide. Good luck. Good luck sliding.
Leroy Brown, the baddest man in the whole downtown.
Oh, Chad is Tinder. Yeah. Good luck sliding, Patsy.
Well, the two men took to fighting. They went and pulled down from the floor.
Traxy's trying to be Nickelodeon the way he wants to get slimed.
Jigsaw puzzle with a couple of pieces gone.
Traxy's trying to get slimed.
Bad Leroy Brown, baddest man in the whole downtown, better than old King Kong, meaner than a junkyard dog. Hey, bad Leroy Brown, baddest man in the whole downtown, better than old King Kong, meaner than a junkyard dog. Yeah, he was better than old King Kong, meaner than a junkyard dog.
That's good. This is a really great one. I like I've Got a Name the best of his. But this, and I'll Have to Say I Love You in a Song. That one's really good. But this one is hilarious. This one always made me laugh. Oh, never mind.
Corlick sent $20.
Feathered Indians. Uh-oh, I'm not a fan of this already. The Avid Brothers, that's another band. They're good. They have a few good ones.
Well, my buckle makes impressions on the inside of her thigh.
No, I don't like it.
Little feathered Indians where we tussle through the night.
It's too humorous.
Then I wouldn't have came stoned to the house of such an angel who fucked up to get back home.
It's country, but I'm not a big fan of it.
Over West Virginia,
it's not bad. I just wouldn't listen
on
to
the roof. She asked, ain't anybody
It's alright though.
told you that them
It's not my favorite.
bad for you. I said many folks aboard me. There's been several people try, but up till now there ain't been nothing that I couldn't leave behind. Hold me close.
You tried. That's okay. You might like this. I don't know if you listen to this. We'll listen through it because you sent $20 to it. I don't know. Skip it.
Softly in my ear, and I will sing along. Honey, tell me how your love runs true, and how I can always count on you. Be there when the bullets fly. I'd run across the river just to hold you tonight. Well, my heart is sweating bullets from the circles it has raced like a little feathered Indian calling out the clouds for rain. I go running through the...
That's all right. Thank you for that, though. The Houthi blockade is now including commercial ships. in addition to Israeli ships. I thought they were already doing that though. For both US and UK commercial ships as well. That's funny. Houthis are so funny. It's such a weird situation, but it's funny. Like this. But this, you might like this Corlick if you like that. What's your longest edge streak? What does that mean? You mean like cooming? Dude, come on. This is good. Abbott Brothers have some good stuff. I don't know what their recent stuff is, but they have some good stuff. They're a little cringe with this, so I don't want to even see them.
All it'll take is just one moment.
You like the Abbott Brothers? Nice. Jewish.
You can
Nice.
say goodbye to how we had it planned. Fear like a habit runs.
This is the honest answer, though. This is the honest answer about the commercials. This is literally like the most defining feature of them.
To the unknown, and I wanna love you and more. I wanna find you and more.
Or like Coulter Wall.
Where do you reside when you're high? How can I find?
But yeah, they have some good stuff.
'Cause I wanna send you and more. I want.
Then there's Jack Johnson. The old Doyle remote was removed, yeah.
She's fighting with the sky. She thinks she can.
That's true, Joe.
Living within a lie. She thinks she can. But nobody knows what lies behind the days before the day we die. Die, 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 die.
There's a whole new host of characters.
She puts her hands against the life she had.
Alright, you should watch this.
Living with
response to whatever the libs are doing. And because it's set up with that as the foundation, that's the lens through which it is viewed, conservatives aren't getting enjoyment out of it so much because of the product, but it's because of the
Oh
satisfaction.
yeah, this is funny. Before we get to this retard, let's go to this retard. I mean, sure, you can keep chimping out about rape tunnels like a retard. They were probably just committing some type of tax fraud with a bloody mattress. Or you can just look at the veritable rape island that many powerful connected people... Dude, nobody cares about Epstein because it's not in America. It's a little different when you have something in the middle that everybody knows about that already happened. It's done. He's a retarded government employee who's never done anything with his life. But it is true. It's like these people are all... Thank you, Loki. Rigor is important in the fight against child rape crimes. Why countersignal? What's the point? Yeah. It's so much more relevant. Well, why would the Jewish blackmail operation target their own people? Chimping out about rape tunnels like a retard? Yeah, you're Jewish. Or you could do both, yeah. There are blood-stained child-sized mattresses hidden in the wall. There's video. This isn't some random building. It's Chabad or Chabad or whatever. Retard headquarters. Yes, dude. But yeah, this is the it rules thing. It's so gay and so like Gen X fag stuff. That's really the only way to describe it is Gen X fag speak. It's fag speak. It's really the way it is. It rules. Oh, this rules. It's totally rules. It rules that. It rules that. Like totally owned. It rules that. It's like, dude, just kill yourself. Slit your wrists. Remember, up the stream, not across it.
That they
Just
might
like
actually
slit your wrists, honestly.
be owning the libs upon
Oh, do you like Andrew Bird? Yeah, I like Andrew Bird a lot. He's awesome. He's really, really good, and he's really talented, and he's multi-instrumental. Like he plays like every single instrument, and he's he has like classical composing skills. He's so good, and he makes a lot of his stuff I don't really like. It's kind of like too out there because I don't really like classical music. But he also had like a period where he was making pop music tier stuff, like the one album. What is it called?